completely thrown off the rails. I was an alcoholic. I was drinking every day. I was taking drugs every day. I was getting into fights. Every time I'd come to Surface Paradise, I'd get arrested nearly. Police would be me on a first name basis.
Wow.
And, it's just wild. Like that was my life for such a long time. And, 19 years old, tried to take my life. Through that process, I really started to actually realize that I'm in control and I can choose happiness or I can choose, suffering. And I can be in control of my life. And I want to start to try to figure out how to actually close this gap. Everything's changing. Now I'm just expected to look after this. I can see how that is. Yeah, I can see how it's possible.
The ability to be financially free by 23, and then you're traveling around the world. You're in Mexico, you're in Bali, you're living this incredible life. You choose to come back during COVID to reset up as well. And then now obviously you have this incredible business.
It wasn't during network marketing that changed. It was my friend gave me a CD from Jim Rohn. I started to change my philosophy without knowing that's what actually had to change. If I had the right vision, right, had the right environment, the right vehicle I was using at the time, but the last time, the fourth one, the right timing. What I really teach people now is it's about really making the decision to go all in. Like I was still like flirting. I was like completely just exploded. Quit my job, moved to Mexico, won my ticket to Mexico, 23 years old. That's all I wanted to do. I was making enough money to be financially free. But I got so fixated on network marketing as the vehicle. And then when COVID happened, one by one, every event got canceled. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there actually just so lost. And I realized I was like, I don't want to do this business anymore. I actually hated it. But what I love was going to speak on stage and train other people and help them be successful. That's why I made a decision. I'm like, I'm closing this business. I'm not doing it anymore. And we actually launched the Dream Lab podcast and running our first event in the middle of COVID. Yep. The rest is history.
First one, I just say thank you so much for your time today. It's a privilege to be here, and I just want to also say thank you for having me in the studio as well. When we reached out to connect, you're like, hey, let's do a podcast. I'll introduce you on mine, you do on mine, yours. So I just want to say thank you. It's great to be able to be in a space and not have to worry about anything, just show up with a notepad and a pen. So thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm happy to be here. It's good that we've been able to finally connect.
Yeah, long overdue. Overdue. I've followed for a long time online, and we talked a bit offline about this as well, but it's been great to see your journey. It's also wonderful to see you as a dad now as well. Just congratulations. Just
Thank
amazing. 4.5 months now?
Yes, still not sleeping all the way through. But he's amazing. It's it's definitely has its challenges and has its rewards. But I mean, I think what women go through to have is wild. Wild.
Yeah.
And then the fact like Simona's home all day with and she's like, and then I hats off to her for sure, because it's I mean, I get to come to work and sure I do all the things I do, but I'm still mentally stimulated, you know, where she has these little, he sleeps for half an hour and then, she can't really get into anything. And, I can definitely see how, because we spoke about this before the baby, I was like, well, let's make an agreement that we're not going to buy into the post pregnancy depression and let's just not even opt in for that, right?
Yep.
You know as well as I do how to control our mindset, and we're not going to opt into it. Now I can see how that is. Yeah, I can see how it's possible. Not just on a chemical thing that's happening in their whole body, hormonal. But just the fact of going like, everything's changed, and now I'm just expected to look after this. I can see, and she's still doing absolutely amazing. Yeah. So it's like, let's just not opt into it. Yeah. It's challenging. It's different, but we're not going to be like, I'm depressed, right? We're gonna own that.
And I think in that as well, I speak to and we've had them in our family as well, where they've had, and a lot of women have an expectation of being a parent, and like a lot of women want to be a mom and just so excited to be a mom. But there's an idea, I think, for a lot of people to think about having kids not as newborn babies when they're so dependent. In that first 6-12 months, you're almost a slave to this little taskmaster, and your job is to keep this person alive. Obviously now I've got a 4 and a 2-year-old. And the dynamic is just so radically different. Like you have a full life with this little being, and you interact and you talk and you get so much back from them. But in that first phase, it's just brutal. So it gets easier. Hang in.
Yeah, it is wild. Hey,
yeah, it's very beautiful.
Especially the first few months. The first few months is kind of like, you do everything for this thing, and it's there's nothing back yet.
No, you get nothing back.
It's like, fuck, even a puppy would
you get
come and run to me.
You get a little smile eventually. That's like, oh my God, we're getting a smile. Yeah. And then you get a little word, and then you start, it's amazing the cognitive development when they start walking. Like the whole personality starts to come out, and it's just amazing. And then, when you have a toddler, it just becomes a new world. But you'll love it. It's just magic. I'm so excited for us to connect. And for people that don't know you, I mean, I was actually blown away just to hear before that, you know, I knew you started in network marketing. And so you had some incredible success with that. And then that got you the ability to be financially free by 23. And then you're traveling around the world. You're in Mexico, you're in Bali, you're living this incredible life. You choose to come back during COVID to reset up as well. And then now, obviously, you have this incredible business. And people that are watching this won't appreciate it. But if you get the chance, I'm going to say to everybody, come and check this place out. Like, it's amazing. As a speaker and a facilitator, it's everything that you would ever want it to be. You've got a working space, you've got the seminar environment, you've got what looks like a film studio or a space for photography. You've got a podcast as well. I mean, it's just perfect. It's all the things you would want. And so props to you. I know for many years I had a vision of creating a space like this, and we sort of attempted to do that over a period of time, but you put the time and energy and effort and money into it as well, and you can see you've created a beautiful environment here, man. So congratulations to you.
Yeah, it's many sweaty hours getting all this shit in together, and and just still fighting all the battles along the way to make it.
We're just talking about councils and everything else, right? But give everyone that's listening that doesn't have that background, hasn't followed you online, give everyone a bit of background in terms of your journey and your arc, and you know what started in network marketing, and then what we're doing now.
Yeah, I mean, long story cut short, I was a carpenter. I finished school, never went to university, never did anything like that. The only thing I wanted to do was travel and have freedom, and everyone told me that you couldn't do that. And so I wanted to find a way to do that. I traveled Europe when I was 18 for a couple of months, and I came back and I figured,
you do.
I was like, if I'm going to do this again, what do I need to do? I should probably get a job, make some money, save some money. Maybe I can travel and have freedom once a year. And when I was a carpenter, I saw the developer rock up on the job site one day, and he came in a brand new BMW, gets out the car, and no shoes on, business shirt. And I'm like, who the hell is this guy? We're all slaving away. And people are like, that's the big boss. Like, you know, look busy, look busy. And I barely even share this story, but that day I actually followed him home. Right? Because I was
creeping through the windows, looking at the bushes.
I want to see where this fucker lived. I was like, where do people like this live? And I followed him all the way home here to Sovereign Island here on the Gold Coast. And I go over this bridge, and everything just gets richer.
What a name for an island, by the way.
It's the very wealthy. It's quite old though, but it's, you know, it's like all the beautiful houses on the waterfront, and these big yachts and cars and the houses. And I'm like, what is this area? And I remember I used to go. I lived not too far around the corner from there, and I used to walk into there nearly every single day, just go and see all the houses and start to try to understand this, because I was so confused. It's like, how come? Because I grew up in, you know, a household where, you know, dad worked, mum stayed home, raised all of us. We definitely weren't rich. We weren't poor, but it was, you know, my parents struggled with 4 kids and, you know, did all that. So I always grew up kind of watching that, being like, why? This is a reality. This sucks. Like, they fight about money all the time. We don't get the things that we want. But then why is people so rich and they can have this life? And I saw this sort of duality, and I made a decision that I want to do that. So I started to reverse engineer it. And it turns out I was like, well, if I want to become a developer, I need to become a builder. If I want to become a builder, I need to finish my apprenticeship. So I was like, okay, do the next 4 years, eat shit, work hard, get your apprenticeship, get this done. And in this whole process, I got so fixated on that being the only way for me to actually achieve the goal that I got completely thrown off the rails. I was an alcoholic. I was drinking every day. I was taking drugs every day. I was getting into fights. Every time I come to Surface Paradise, I'd get arrested nearly. I was throwing the watch house once or twice a month.
Sounds like a great weekend.
It was, you know, where the Surface Paradise police knew me on a first name basis.
Wow.
And, you know, it's just wild. Like that was my life for such a long time. And, you know, 19 years old, tried to take my own life because I was just like completely off everything. And, but through that process, I really started to actually realize that I'm in control, and I can choose happiness, or I can choose, you know, suffering, and I can be in control of my life. And I want to start to try figure out how to actually close this gap. And, a friend introduced me to network marketing when I was 21 years old, because I just started to follow the breadcrumbs. I was like, you're happy, you travel a lot, you have properties, you're rich. How the fuck do you do this? And he's like, I do this thing online, come and check it out. I said, okay. I go down, I have a look at this thing. I call it a cult, I call it a scam. I'm like, this, you know, because this is all the noise from this side. People telling me like, pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't give a fuck what it is.
Yeah.
These guys are making money. And I'm not.
Gives me a house, gives me the life. I'm in.
I'm like, let's go. And but it wasn't joint network marketing that changed. It was my friend gave me a CD from Jim Rohn.
Ah, yes.
That's what changed.
Yeah.
Because I had
the OG.
I had a 52-minute drive to work every single day, and the CD was 56 minutes. And I'd drive to work every single day, listen to it, get in the car park, listen to the last 4 minutes, and going to work. And I started to change my philosophy without knowing that's what actually had to change. I kept trying to change my action, not getting anywhere. But it wasn't until I really realized what's the philosophy that drives my action. That's what has to change.
Yes.
And I remember the little things where Jim Rohn would say, like, don't wish life was easier, wish you were better. And, you know, it's really actually the story of the ambitious sower. Because Jim Rohn started in Herbalife. You know that?
Yeah.
So we got the CDs, like, this is from the God, the personal development God, but it's contextually dependent for network marketing. So I started to build this belief that I could actually be successful in this industry. That's what it really started to do. And he shared a story of the ambitious sower, where he's like, you know, the ambitious sower. You know, he's like, you know, if you keep sowing the seeds, like one day the seed's going to fall on rocky ground, it's going to go nowhere. One day it's going to fall on shallow ground, it'll grow, then it's just going to, you know, then one day it'll grow on some okay soil, but it'll come up, and the first bit of sun, it'll come and just destroy it, or the birds will come and attack it. And he's like, don't worry about the birds, just keep sowing the seed. And he goes, and eventually the seed will fall on good ground, and then it'll grow. And I think that really cemented into me this absolute resilience of don't get attached to the outcome, get attached to the process. And because my first year in network marketing, I was shit. I was going from, you know, drinking and partying and taking drugs and fighting everybody and just being this angry shithead to try and telling people about health and nutrition, and you should join entrepreneurship. And I was like, I have my life together. No, I don't. Like, and so I went nowhere. And to be honest, in my first year, I nearly didn't renew my next year because I actually went backwards. It cost me more money to stay in business that year than I made. And then everyone was like, see, I told you this wasn't going to work, and et cetera, et cetera. And my second year, I got a little bit better. And I remember speaking to a mentor at the time. At this day, he's probably made about $150 million in network marketing.
Wow.
And I remember asking him, I'm like, Jimmy, what's the secret? And of course, he could have just said, there is no secret.
Yeah.
But he looks me in the eyes and he goes, be here a year from now. And I'm like, okay. So I stay in for one more year. I come and see him at the next event. I said, Jimmy, I've grown a little bit. I made some extra money, but it's still not working. He goes, cool, be here in one more year. I said, okay. And my next year, my third year, it really clicked.
Right.
Where I really started to glue more things together, which now is actually my whole Dream Out Loud method seminar that I run. This is my whole thing. I like the 5 laws to actually create your dream life. I had the right vision, right? I had the right environment, the right vehicle I was using at the time. But the last one, the fourth one is the right timing. You know, like really actually not just learning how to time the market, but time yourself. You know, like I was not the right person at that time. When I was 21, I was not the right person who could have done it. But at 23, I guess I learned more. I developed more. Where I was like, okay, now it's actually the right time. But what I really teach people now is it's about really making the decision to go all in. Like I was still like flirting. I was like, you know, went all in 23, and then you know the fourth one was becoming the right you. And I started to really develop me. And within the space of about 4 or 5 months at the start of my third year, I completely just exploded. Quit my job, moved to Mexico, one-way ticket to Mexico, 23 years old. That's all I wanted to do. I was making enough money to be financially free. I was like, screw this. I didn't want to be a millionaire or anything. I was like, I just want freedom. I want to wake up when I want to wake up. I want to surf. I want to have, you know, tacos on the beach. That's it. And that lasted for like a day. Get to Mexico. I'm like, okay, I'm bored. And then I got so obsessed on just one question. How the fuck did I just do that? How did I go from this complete screw up at 21 to now financially free at 23? Like understanding business and traveling and doing all this stuff. And I got so obsessed on neuroscience, NLP, human behavior, psychology, all this stuff. And I just got so immersed into it all. And I started to apply it to my own self and then scale my business even bigger. We went to multiple 6 figures that year. The next year, I became the #1 income earner in the whole company under the age of 25.
Wow.
They started sending me all around the world to train people, speak on stages, 6,000 people, 5,000, 1,500. You know, it's pretty wild. And that was my life for years. I was just a digital nomad living out of a suitcase, living in Bali, US, Mexico, just going anywhere I felt like every about 6 weeks on an airplane. And that was everything. That's what I thought I was going to do. I was so fixated again. I was so fixated on because I gave up the dream of becoming a developer because I was like, wait, the right vehicle doesn't have to become a developer. What if I could retire before because I wanted to retire at 45. What if I can retire earlier in my 20s with network marketing? And bang, I'm going to do it. And then it happened. But I got so fixated on network marketing as the vehicle. And then when COVID happened, I'm sitting in my room. I had a full international tour lined up. I was speaking across Asia, New Zealand, Australia, North America, Mexico, everywhere. About 3-month tour.
Wow. One
by one, every event got cancelled. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm sitting there actually just so lost. And I'm like, And I was like, well, just go do your business online. I was like, it's not saying I don't want to do that. And I realized, I was like, I don't want to do this business anymore. I actually hated it. But what I loved was being able to speak on stage and train other people and help them be successful. And that's when I sort of had this thing of going like, shit, like, should I shut this business down and just go all in with what I actually want to do? And, you know, after sitting on that for a few weeks, that's when I made the decision. I'm like, I'm closing this business. I'm not doing it anymore. And we actually launched the Dream Out Loud podcast and ran our first event in the middle of COVID. When it was lockdown on, lockdown off, lockdown off. I was like, it was off. I was like, bang, let's do an event. And then someone came up to me after this event and they go, actually with Joel Brown. Do you know Joel Brown? He's from Perth, right?
Yeah. I know Joel. Yeah.
He was over here and was chatting in his kitchen. I said, dude, we should do an event while you're here. He goes, yeah, well, I leave in 2 weeks. Let's do one. I said, fuck it. Like, I mean, we can get 100 people in a room right now because the government just changed it. I said, let's do this. It's bang, we put this thing on and someone comes up to me at the end of the event and goes, this was really good. When's your next one? I go, I didn't know that I do events. And that's what I went back to the drawing board. I was like, if I was going to run an event, what would it be? And I was like, I should create this Dream Out Loud method. What's my signature program? What's this thing? And then I started to take all this knowledge from my head. And we ran our first 2-day event. Then it was a 2.5-day event. Now it's a 3-day event. Now it's about 40 hours of content in 3 days. Wow. And it's just like our signature program. You know, but that was about 4 years. 4 years ago, it's actually like literally last weekend, 4 years ago, it was our first Dream Loud method we done. Incredible. And, you know, and now how I explain it is this, it's because the right vehicle is one of the laws. You know, it's the whole thing, got you where you are, won't get you where you need to get to.
Yep.
And I explain it like this. Russell Brunson, so Alex Hormozi is a perfect example.
Yep.
He built gyms, okay? He was extremely successful in gyms. He was crushing. And he joined Russell Brunson's mastermind. And he says to Russell, he goes, I want to do, I've got 6 gyms, I want to get to 10 gyms. And then Russell says to him, he's like, dude, you've got a level 10 skill set and a level 2 opportunity. He goes, you're building, you're so good at sales and marketing, getting leads and growing your gym. You're so good at that, but you can only, like, how many gyms are you going to have? So he convinced him to get into coaching. He goes, you should coach other gym owners how to do what you've done. You take your level 10 skill set and go join a level 10 opportunity.
Yes.
Then he switched it. 5 years later, they make $100 million in sales.
Wow.
Right? 5 or 6 years later, right? And then he did the exact same thing. He got so good at coaching, so good at business. He's like, fuck, level 10. He outgrew the coaching space. And he goes, cool, I'm going to now go into acquisitions. Now he's gone from level 10 skill set into another level 10 opportunity where he's actually acquiring companies now. And I mean, who knows where he's going to go next. But and this was what I was looking for the leaps of my life, where I was like, what got me to where I am is not going to be where I need to get to. It's time to let go of this wagon and actually take this skill set I've acquired over the last 7 years, become really good at speaking, training, systems, leadership, and go and do my whole own thing. And, you know, the rest is history. Amazing.
Well, for a long story short, we went...
That was long story short.
Yeah. I did the same thing. Yeah, long story short, then we give you the full story. There's so much to unpack in there. A few things that jump out at me. One is how much of your behavior when you're 19 and you're drinking and you're in that space, how much of that is a reflection of the environment that you're in? You were talking about proximity is power. I don't imagine you're doing that on your own, right? I imagine you're surrounded by other people that are in that same space. And of course, then you leave that environment, you then go into the environment of network marketing. You're surrounded by young, ambitious people that are interested in health and wellness and developing themselves. So talk to me about, especially those early days of peer group, peer pressure. And we talk about peer pressure as real, just choose your peers wisely. Like how much of your environment had to change and the people around you had to adjust and change as well? How much of that?
So much to the point it's the second law.
Right.
The right environment.
Right.
And I went so deep into this because, I mean, my environment at 19, like a lot of my friends then are now either in jail or they're gang affiliated bikies.
Wow. Okay.
Because a lot of back in the day, we would go drink at some of my friends' houses, and their brothers were like high up in the finks, and so we would hang out. We'd be drinking and partying with like all these like legit bikies. It was good to have them on our side. So when we got into a fight out in the club or something, we'd make a phone call, and there'd be pissed off bikies in to back us up. That was great, but that was the environment, right? And the whole you become the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with makes so much sense when you look on a neuroscience level. So the most fascinating study I've ever seen about how our environment shapes our reality is this thing called the Asch experiment. Have you ever heard of that?
Tell me the study I may have. Yeah.
So this fellow called Solomon Asch, he created a study I'm going to butcher it a little bit to make it contextually better for the the viewer, but essentially he gets a room full of actors, okay, and one real person. And he puts 4 lines onto a board. One of the lines is double the length of the other lines. And they say, you guys just put a circle around which line is different from the rest. And they tell all the actors come in and circle A, but obviously D is the one that's double the length.
Gotcha.
So they all circle A. Real guy comes in and goes, the fuck? It's D. All right, and he circles D. They reset. They do it again. A. This time, way more doubtful. I think it's D. Circles D. They do it again. A. Maybe it's not D. Very doubtful. Slowly circles. By the time they get to the 4th time, you know what happens?
Well,
He goes, yeah, the answer's A.
right.
He circles A. And this is like very visually, like the lines double the length. And I do this in a real room here. I draw the lines on the board. I say, cool, yell out to me nice and loud. Which line's different from the rest? Everyone's like, it's C. I go, what? They go, and then I lose half the audience. It's C. C or D? And they, what? No, C. And I'm like, are you saying C? And they're like, yeah. And every single time I challenge, I lose more and more and more. I do this 4 times. And I go, probably hand if you had bet me $10,000 the answer is C.
Yeah, all right.
And I usually have in a room of 100, maybe 3 people.
Right.
3% of people go, yeah. And usually they're just the rebellious ones anyway.
Sure. Yeah.
But like, you can't tell me, you know.
Yeah.
I go, obviously the answer is fucking C. But I said, what's crazy is I just convinced 97% of you that what you see with your own fucking eyes isn't real.
And not even outwardly telling them that it was wrong, but just by evoking
Challenging
the
them.
potential of a question of like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So there's multiple cognitive biases playing here, right? Number one is just conformity bias.
Yes.
Okay. Conformity bias is the biggest one. And when I started to look into this, I was like, well, why do people actually conform to people around them? Because this is what the whole study was done to see, will the average person comply to what others around them are doing? And the studies have shown that the average person, when they did the Asch experiment, it's about 70 to 80% of people will actually comply with those around them by the time they get to about the 4th time. Okay. But then also the crazy thing can happen, if you put one person before you're at the answer who says the right answer, those studies change. So it's seen as the person who, if they have just one other person who believes them, then they can go back. So they go, okay, because now there's 2 of them. So now we look at this, like on a neuroscience level, what the fuck is going on here? Well, we got our 3 brains, our reptilian brain, been developed over the last like 10 million years old. Its number one thing is survive. But think 10 million years ago, what was the number one way? How did you survive? You had to stay with your tribe. If you weren't with the tribe, you had a much higher chance of dying. Then you couldn't get back and reproduce, and that's the number one goal. So we get conflicted between what we logically want, consciously want, and then what we instinctually have been hardwired to actually do, what our ancestors had to do for millions of years to survive.
Yeah.
And this is why becoming successful is so fucking frightening, but people can't rationalize it, make sense. They're like, but I want to be really rich. I want to be a millionaire. But why does my body completely constrict and get so scared to talk to somebody about my business? Well, because there's a deep fear in there that probably would say, if I do this and they reject me, I might be kicked out of the tribe, therefore I will die. And I would rather be in the tribe and self-sacrifice my goals and dreams than to be kicked out and die.
Yeah.
It makes no fucking rational sense now, but our body, our nervous system's acting without any thought around it, right? And when I started to see that, I was like, holy shit. Because conformity bias, we have, people think that there's free will, and there isn't. There is absolutely no free will. You'd probably even know about it, right? You train people in NLP. People think that there's, and this is not even NLP. This is like the depths of real, like neuroscience and behavior on a whole other level. People think that they actually have free will, and they just fucking don't. It's insane. And the biggest agencies and companies and everything on the planet, they know this, but the average person doesn't. Governments know this. The average person doesn't. They think that they're making a decision based off their own rationality. No, they're not. It's been completely embedded into your head before, right? You can look at the book Propaganda. You know the guy who actually wrote Propaganda? He was, this is not completely correct. He was either the son or the nephew. I think it was the nephew of Sigmund Freud.
Oh, really?
Right? So one of the best psychologists ever.
Right.
He wrote the book Propaganda. How to actually use propaganda and PR, now they call it, to brainwash nations and get them to think what they want. So we'll get into that, because that's a whole cognitive bias in itself. But the Asch experiment was what was so fascinating, because when I started to see this thing, I learned this, and I'm like, well, what would happen the exact same way around? What would happen if I surround myself with people that saw the world completely different but more successful, and I didn't believe that? And I started to see the exact same thing happen. And I'll never forget this one day, my friend calls me up when I'm trying to really force my way into this like successful world, because I understood like the environment without the neuroscience behind it. I understood if I surround myself with other people, they might change my behavior and values and identity and stuff. And that started to really change. But I remember this one time a friend calls me up and he goes, we're having a yacht party this Wednesday. Do you want to come? I said, fuck yeah, yacht on a Wednesday? Sure.
Of course.
Why? What's happening? And he goes, what about the friends? He's turning 21 and he's also celebrating making his first 7-figure year. I'm like, holy shit, yeah, I want to invite to that party. Who's gonna, like, I want to meet some other people.
Yeah.
And I get there, and when I'm at a party like that, I'm quiet. I'm listening. I'm not trying to talk. I'm just trying to listen to how other people are talking. And I never forget this conversation. My now buddy, Sasha, he's talking to this guy. And he goes, well, how much did you make last month? And he goes, oh yeah, we made about 40 grand last month. And I'm thinking, wow, that's so, like, because I was only making maybe 18 grand or something. And I was like, wow, he's making so much money. And he goes, when are you going to stop being a pussy and hurry up and make 100K months? And I'm like,
guys are so different than girls, aren't they?
I'm like, what? I said, what the fuck did you just say to him? But then this other guy comes over my show and he goes, when are you both going to grow the fuck up and hit 250K months? And I'm like, this banter is wild. And that's when I instantly saw it. I was like, here in my eyes, I was like, the answer is A. The answer is A, right? And I thought this was the line that's bigger. But then all these other guys were going, no. That's the right answer. And at first, the paradigm in my own body was like, but it's not. But I was like, but what if it is? What if it is? And eventually, you know what happened? They brainwashed me to actually believe that, no, $100,000 a month, I mean, that's nothing, right? Now, that exact same guy is doing about $2 million a month.
Wow.
Right. And, you know, and I've just seen this exact same thing happen. So the environment, like, because I love the science part, I like the why. Why does it actually happen? We look on a scientific level. That's exactly why. We will start to actually shape our brain differently, but we have to survive. Therefore, we'll do what others around us are doing. So if we go and get ourselves in mentorship, get into communities, get around mentors, coaches, just other people like us, eventually it's going to brainwash you to actually think like, you know what, maybe I can actually do this thing. Maybe I can be successful. And that's why environment is the biggest thing. But then the second cognitive bias is the authority bias, right? Have you ever looked into this one? With the Milton experiment?
Yeah, this sounds familiar. Yeah.
So the Milton experiment is wild, and this guy the Milgram experiment is fucking wild.
Milton Erickson is where my head went, and I was like, okay, yeah.
No, so the Milgram experiment is absolutely freaking wild, and this guy, so Stanley Milgram, he ran this experiment because he had family who were in the Holocaust, and he was very fascinated to be like, how is it that all these Nazis, when they were put on the trial, said, well, I was just following orders. So he wanted to see, he's like, can people kill someone by just following orders? So he put together this study, and he brings two people into a room, and there's like a line in the room, right? So like they can't see each other. One person goes in this room, one person goes in the other. And what they say is, we're going to see if we can train people to learn faster through negative reinforcement. So we're going to hook the person up in the other room to an electric wire. You in this room, you're going to ask him questions through a microphone. If he says the answer wrong, you give him an electric shock. Every answer wrong, you increase the voltage, all the way until we say stop. Cool. Here's a red line. If you go off this red line, that's enough to kill somebody. Any questions? And they're like, no, cool. So we'll get paid $50, whatever. But in the other side of the room, it's just a microphone. So the other guy goes in there and goes, just don't do anything, just sit and watch. And so he goes in there, and so here's the first answer. On the other side was a recording to give the wrong answers all the time.
Right.
So he goes through, he's like, answer number one, it's incorrect. And the microphone goes, ow. Then it gets louder and louder. Oh my God. And then louder and louder. Oh my God, please get me out of here. This is hurting. And then the guy goes, should we stop? And the guy in the lab coat with a clipboard says, please continue the experiment. That's pretty much all they said. Please continue the experiment. It's imperative that you continue the experiment. And they go, okay. They kept going. This guy's screaming in so much pain. And then you can see this video footage where they're starting to have this complete cognitively like fucking going wild in their head, because what's happening is they're conflicted with two scripts in their head now, right? Script number one says, look after your tribe members. Script two says, he's the boss.
Follow instructions.
If I don't follow his instructions, he'll kill me, right? So they're doing this thing, and you can see these people in like so much like this. Bzz. Guess how many people went all the way to the end to kill someone?
How many?
100% of people.
Fuck off.
100% of people within an hour will commit murder.
Wow. Wow.
And it was about as high as 80-ish% went all the way to the end where there was no more tabs to hit. And then, but what's fascinating about it is at the end of it, they stop everything. They go, okay, cool. Because when they get past the line, there's no recording anymore. So he goes, well, he's not answering. He goes, he might be dead now. He goes, well, take no answer is the wrong answer. Wrong answer, increase. They get to the end, they go, do you know what just happened? He goes, well, I don't know. He could be dead. He goes, you just killed someone. They go, no. You made me do it. And he goes, yeah, but who was pushing the trigger? And they're like, yeah, but he made me. No, he didn't. He stood in the corner. You did it. And the people were like, it's fucked. So obviously they don't do it anymore because it fucks people up psychologically.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah. Those people are in therapy the rest of their lives.
But this is the authority bias.
Yes.
So the question was, how important is the environment? Fuck, it's everything. It's everything. Because in every environment, there's an alpha. In every environment, there's a leader. Whoever that leader is, we will obey. We will follow. Okay? But then there's also the conformity bias. So we have two of the strongest biases that literally program our entire nervous system in our brain working in the right environment. So now think about what happens if you're in the wrong environment. Maybe you're a really good person. You got really good ambition, but you're around a lot of people who are just going nowhere. But you're too scared to go and pursue your dreams because, I mean, well, what if I leave all my loser friends?
Have you read Gladwell's Revenge of the Tipping Point?
No.
You'd really love it. You read Tipping Point by Gladwell? You haven't read? Oh, wow. Incredible, right? So he talks about, Malcolm Gladwell talks about that there are tipping points in psychology and in like movements effectively, that once you hit these thresholds, everything changes, right? And then 20 years later, after writing the first book, he writes Revenge of the Tipping Point, talking about reverse tipping points. One of the things that he talks about is this example of this guy that completes, in the United States, does massive Medicare fraud. And his lawyer argues that he only did that because of the fact that he was in Miami in Florida, and Miami in Florida was like the mecca for Medicare fraud. It just happened to be that everybody there that was doing that, and it became a normalized behavior there. And it's like this was a upstanding gentleman from another part of the country, he gets involved in this and just gets caught up in this movement, and then he ends up getting done for Medicare fraud in the United States. Like basically writing false prescriptions for medical stuff.
Wow.
But it's just like this is what was happening.
Because everyone around him was doing it.
Everyone was doing it. So this is what you do, right? And so you sort of normalize that this is the done thing. Like everyone does this.
Yeah, it's the another crazy study that they did. So biologically, they did this one on monkeys. So they put 6 monkeys into a cage.
Yep.
Monkey climbs that ladder to get the bananas at the top of the ladder.
Yep.
Other monkeys get punished.
Yes.
Scalded with water.
Yep.
They kept swapping out monkeys, swapping out monkeys. They put in a brand new monkey. He goes up a ladder. He gets the shit beaten out of him because they thought that every single time you go up, we get punished. So they start beating the crap out of the monkeys.
Yeah.
Kept switching them out until no monkey goes up the ladder anymore. And if you could talk to the monkey, you'd say, well, why don't you go after your bananas? And they go, well, it's just how we do things around here.
How we've both traveled around the world, right? You've lived in all sorts of parts of the world. There's so many beautiful things about Australia. And one of the things that people are understandably quite critical of is that we have a pretty strong tall poppy syndrome. And I heard a quote recently that said, the problem with Australia is not that we're descendant from convicts, but that too many of us are descendant from the jailers. And I was like, I like that as a reference.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I'm interested to get your take. Having traveled the world, do you see that tall poppy syndrome present everywhere? It's just more manifest here. It's more open
it's here. Here in Brits.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
I don't know who's worse, the English or us.
Yeah.
English are pretty bad at it too.
But I think that comes from the monarchy, right? Because it's like there's a sense of you were given title by birth, not because you earned it, right?
Yeah.
But I think that manifests slightly differently here because we don't have the same lords and ladies. We don't have that same situation. But I'm interested to get your take on that. That's the same principle as the monkeys, right? Someone just climbing the ladder, which is why I think we have such an exodus of talent, right? People achieve a certain level here and then they go to the US, right? Because it's a bigger market, but also because it's more celebrated. I remember a guy, Brad Sugars, Queensland boy, And he always shared a story about how when he was in Brisbane, he drove down the street in a Ferrari and someone was like, wanker. And then he went to America and he was in Vegas in a Rolls Royce and guys were like, fuck, that's incredible, well done. So it's like a different culture and a different spirit.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that internationally?
Huge. And because you think like the environment, but for some reason there is some sort of thing here where it's like if you do, we want everyone to do well, just not great.
Yes.
Like this thing, like we want you to, a good old Aussie battler trying so hard, but
it's like an underdog spirit. Do you think is that we celebrate that more?
I don't fucking know, hey. But what's strange is there's actually this gap when you're struggling at the bottom. Everyone's like, doing it tough like us. When you're striving, everyone hates you. But then when you get past the threshold, Aussies fucking love the absolute winner. Right? You look at some of the, Volkanovski or, some of the most people who have crushed it, right? There's been some very famous people come from Australia, Mel Gibson's and stuff like this, right? During his come up, people would just be thrown at him. But when you make it, people are like, proud Aussie doing us right. You know what I mean?
We'll claim it.
It's like we fucking love to celebrate the Aussies. We love to look at them at the Olympics and the famous people. But when they're going on the journey, fuck you, because you think you're better. It is a fucked up culture. It really is. But America is completely different because they were built off the great American dream. You can do everything. You can be so their whole story, their whole narrative is so different there. And where I really noticed it was the first ever personal development event I done was a very intense leadership event in LA.
Yep.
And I was 21 or 22 years old, still a very angry guy, still loved a good fight here and there. And I'm sitting in this room and I nearly get into this fight with this guy because I thought he was patronizing me. Where he'd like pat me on the back. He's like, yeah, good job, buddy. You're doing such a good job. And I'm like, fucking try again. I'm going to break your teeth. Right? And I was like, oh, this guy's triggering me, right? Because it's in a personal development event. I was like, And then the whole vibe of them, where I was just like, I thought they were all taking the piss out of me because I was this Aussie. And then a few days in, I was like, that's actually really fucked up that I thought that their genuine support of me was rad. Because that's what it was. They were so genuinely like, hey, like good on you. Like good on you, buddy. Like you're doing such a great job. And I thought the way they were coming at me was like, yeah, little buddy. And I'm like, I'll fuck you up. And and that's what I've really realized. Like when I go to America, what I see is they collaborate, they don't compete. Australians, they compete. And it's crazy. There's been lots of people here where it might be in a similar niche with me. And I'm like, hey, let's collaborate on stuff. And they're like, oh no, because you're my competition. I'm like, what? It blows my mind. I'm like, you do know there's 8 billion people on the planet, right? And then one day I saw this ad of Tony Robbins and Tony Robbins and Brendan Burchard running an online event together. And I'm like, what's Tony Robbins known for? #1 peak performance coach in the world. What's Brendan Burchard known for? #1 peak performance coach in the world. Here they are coming together, doing an event, sharing an audience, because they probably understand 1, 2 things. #1, they're actually genuinely here to actually really serve and help people.
Yeah, service
#2, they can't do all that by themselves. And I'm like,
and they're very different markets, right? Like someone that's attracted to Brendan's very different to the person that's attracted to Tony. You can respect both, but there's an abundance, right?
That's the exact thing. It's like there's, like how many self-development events have you done? Like I've worked with so many different people, and they're similar crossovers, but I get it differently from this person because it's I will like this person, not really that person, and so I started to see this over there, and it's completely different because these guys they collaborate, they don't compete, and every time I go there, it is insane. Like I was in Scottsdale just a few months ago, and I was chatting with a mate of mine, and he's like, "Oh, dude, how long are you here for?" He's like, "You should meet my buddy Pace." He's like, "Here, text Pace, just text him. Here's his number, just text him. I'm gonna put a group chat together." I'm like, "Who the fuck is Pace?" And turns out Pace is very good friends with Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi. Pace does about like $500 million or $600 million worth of property. One of the most incredible guys I've ever met. And go and meet Pace. He's awesome. So I rock up this Pace's guy's house. I don't know who the fuck he was. Rock in, and he's just like such a nice, amazing dude. And we're chatting, doing stuff. And he's like helping me with my business and sharing me all the stuff that he's doing, his plans. And I said, dude, is there anything that I can help you? He's like, no, like how can I help you? Like, what do you need to do? And he goes, are you meeting Dean while you're out here? I said, you mean like Dean Graziosi? He's like, yeah. I said, I wasn't planning on it.
Yeah, but he's available.
He's like, done. He's like, done. He's like, Dean, I'll introduce you with Morgan. He's like, you got to meet Morgan. He's like, da, 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 da. Next minute, Dean messages me, hey, Morgan, it's great to connect. He's like, let's chat. He's like, come to my office Thursday. I'm like,
Amazing.
Cool. And then I'm there with Dean, hanging out with Dean. Dean's like, here's my personal number. He's like, just text me, man. He's like, so what I've seen is these people are just at such a high level where they're like, they're not trying to gatekeep. They're not trying to be like, hey, you meet this person. Here's their phone number. Here's their phone. Like they pass out everyone's phone numbers like crazy over there. Where here it's just not really like that. The people are very kind of like, that's my friend, my contact. And over there, they're like abundance. And so, I mean, if you look at just how much more successful they are as a country. I mean, there's definitely elements that are fucked. But per capita entrepreneurs, I mean, inventions, all this stuff. It's. But you think that we can learn a lot from them?
Yeah, without a doubt. Do you think part of that though is because there's a scarcity of the resource, therefore it feels more valuable, right? Like if I know you, but you're the only successful person that I know, then naturally there's a scarcity to that, and me being willing to share you more freely is harder for me to do. But if I know 10 people like you, and there might only be one of you here in Australia, but there might be 10 equivalents in the United States because the market's just way bigger. Everything just seems more accessible and more abundant because there's just more examples of it. Is that, you think that's part of the psychology? It's like if you've got one M&M left as opposed to 10, you're more willing to share?
Possibly. Possibly, because I've thought about this a while ago. I was like, to be honest, I don't have an answer for where does tall poppy syndrome come from. But I like what you said, like we're probably not descendants from prisons, we're actually descendants from jailers. That is interesting because I have thought about this a little bit. I'm like, where could it have come from? At the end of the day, we're only like, 6 or 7 generations from convicts. And not even crazy convicts. People just stole bread and shit. So people who have kind of been really done a little bit something and got severely punished, moved to the other side of the planet, slavery, like wild. So then what do you think happens? Like, I was actually watching Ned Kelly the other day. The one with Heath Ledger. Yeah. And I was watching because this is like
what a great actor.
Yeah, like this is only 250 years or something ago, right? Yeah. And Ned Kelly died in 1880, so not even that long. Yeah. And I'm looking, and the whole thing that they were living in these little shacks, and the whole thing was just keep your head down, don't stand up to authority, and that was the whole narrative there, right? Yeah. Because the whole Kelly family, they came after, blah 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 blah. Yeah. And I was listening to it, and I was like, if that's actually how it was, where because the wealthy English people came over to start colonizing, but then the poor Irish people, the poor Irish families, poor English people, they came over and they were more slaves. They were working for the wealthy. And what I was seeing in the movie was this huge gap. It's almost like, don't stand up, don't put your head up, because the authority's bad, they're corrupt, Yep. And I'm like, it's only 200 years ago. Yeah. Like it's like not even 6 generations off of that. That's probably the whole monkey story. Yeah. I think that could have a bit to do, where it's just like, just keep your head down, just shut up, don't stand out, work hard. The great Aussie dream, work hard, get your house, get a caravan, travel around Australia, then die. Yeah.
And I think also as well, my take on it is that we have such a good life here as like a baseline, and I don't think they have that somewhere in like the United States.
Yeah, you gotta hustle more.
You have to, because there's no floor, there's no safety net. Whereas, like, with deepest respect, people can live in Australia on Centrelink, and when you look at the international averages, you're actually in the top 10, 20% of the world's wealthiest people if you're on the government benefit here, and you've got the quality of life that is just unbelievable. So the standard is very high anyway, globally. But I'm interested to get your take on this. You have a protocol, if you will, around dreaming out loud, and we're talking about proximity being power. For someone that's in a negative environment, it's possible, but not normal, that they would go from a negative environment immediately to a positive environment. Normally they have to leave the negative environment and sort of be isolated a little bit to create space for something that might be positive. But also as well, there are people, certainly I know in my own life, where I go, I'm hesitant to share a dream with you until I've worked through it, because some people are great at sort of second guessing it and using those people very critically, very intelligently. So there's some people in your life that you share a dream with very early when it's still very embryonic, right? Like it's a newborn and it's vulnerable. And there's some people you share a dream with when it's already more established, right? So if you're someone that's in a negative environment right now, doesn't have a lot of positive people around you, maybe you're in an environment from a family perspective that's not super supportive, and you're looking to make a shift and you're going to go and back yourself and do network marketing or set up a coaching business business or pursue a career or a personal development, or you're going to become a fucking writer or a painter or a poet, whatever it is for you, and you don't have that sphere of influence, how important is there a stepping stone from a negative environment to nobody, like you're in isolation, to then create space for that? Like, and what's your suggestions and recommendations on that? And also, do you recommend someone dreaming out loud and literally speaking it into existence? Or is that more of something that they would do to themselves in the beginning until they can build that tribe for themselves?
Yeah. So I explain this as, back in the day, I was living in a world of black and white.
Okay.
And that's all I knew. Everything was black and white. And then one day, I climbed this fence and I had to look over the fence and I see everyone in color. I was like, holy shit. And what screwed me up for so long was I was on this fence and I felt like I was the only one on the fence. And I was looking to the land of color. I was like, this is amazing. I'm trying to turn my head, telling other people, you guys, there's color here, there's color. And they're like, you're a fucking idiot. What do you think you are? Da, da, da. And it felt like for so long, I was trying to move forward, but I was so scared to not leave them.
Sure.
And where it really changed for me is when I made the decision to go, I'm going to stop trying to convince you to see color, and I'm leaping the fucking fence.
Sure.
And it really was the decision to go all in and go, I'm going to leap the fence because this is what I'd rather do. I would rather die pursuing something that's worthy than to settle and sacrifice. Because here's what I know, if I get back off this fence, I'll join the black and white land, sure, and life's going to be what it was before with one change. Now I know what could be possible. And that would eat me alive forever. And, you know, I heard Chris Williamson say this one time where he's like, there is that lonely chapter.
Yes.
And thankfully, like, I had a pretty good environment around me because I was, you know, at the time, but it didn't feel like I was doing it completely by myself. It's probably why I do everything that I do now, is to actually create an environment for people to be in that bridge, that lonely chapter. Because there is that section where it's like, now you know too much. Now you know there is a land of color. Now you know that there's so much more. You don't fit back in there anymore, but you're also not at the level to fit in at the next one. And but I view it as this. You're only in that lonely chapter for as long as you're willing to keep holding onto the fence. And the moment you let go of the fence and you jump over, I've never met someone doing better than me that wasn't welcoming to someone who's ambitious but doing not as good.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Right?
100%.
And I love mentoring people, okay? And I don't care how much you make. I don't care about any of that, but I care about the attitude. And one of my good friends, he has a business here, and he doesn't make a lot of money, maybe 20 grand a month something, but he was a videographer for me when he was 16 years old. He didn't even have a license, and he'd fucking catch an Uber to come film for me for like $40 an hour or something. And he's one of the hardest working people. And I've always got time for him because I'm like, and I know that he gets to learn from me and my other friends. We'll bring him to the cigar lounge with us, and I'll invite my mates down and stuff. But he's just so hungry and respectful. And I'm like, and everyone there loves him. No one's ever asked like, how much money do you make? Or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're not at that level, you think you're gonna be judged.
Yeah.
And I would always try to be the dumbest and the poorest in every room that I walk into. And then, you know, the richer I get, the harder that room becomes. Of
course.
And I remember chatting with Dean Graziosi at his office, and he goes, I go, how much have you guys made in this new mastermind.com?
Yeah.
He tells me his number. I'm like, fuck, that's pretty good. He goes, yeah, it's just our side thing. I'm like, get out. And he goes, what did you turn over last year? I'm like, I don't want to tell you.
Yeah.
I go, fuck. I go, dang, that's exact. I want to be embarrassed. I want to be embarrassed to tell you how much I'm making, because that's going to tell me that I'm in the right room.
Yes.
But sometimes people have this ego where they think it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. You'll never find someone doing better than you tear you down, ever.
100%.
But as long as you're willing to keep holding onto that fence and keep trying to pull people who aren't ready to come with you, it's going to suck. And it's going to feel like you're in this absolute lonely world. But as soon as you make the decision, you're not afraid to let go of the fence and jump that fence, it's going to get a hell of a lot easier. But also the other thing that is possible, see, you can't change the environment around you sometimes, but you can change the environment within. And so here's an example. If you get an egg and you put them into a boiled pot of water, what eventually happens to the egg?
Cooks.
It gets really, really hard. It gets this hard shell. It's like, right? And eventually stays in too long, it'll implode, right? But if you get a potato and you put them in a boiling pot of water, what happens to the potato?
Softens.
Gets all soft and just crushes and turns into mush. Yeah. But if you get a teaspoon of coffee and you put them into the boiling pot of water, what happens to the water?
It dissolves and it becomes coffee.
It'll completely transform the water, right? And people can always make that decision. And they can make the decision to be like, okay, I'm going to expect my environment to change so I can change.
Yeah, the water's still boiling water.
The water is still that.
Yeah.
And you can be the egg, and you can let the environment crush you.
Yes.
You can be the potato and let the environment turn you into mush. Or you can walk into any sort of environment and be like, I'm going to transform the environment from within, from who I am. And tell you what, that's always the better place to be betting, because you can't always control the environment around you.
No.
But if you can control your internal environment, your internal identity will actually transform your reality, right? If we can actually change the way how we see ourselves, we'll change our own reality. So there were some things I've done along the way. But the longer I kept holding the fence, it just hurt.
Yeah. You've got a loving partner, and obviously now a little boy, which is amazing. For someone out there that's watching this, that maybe the person that they're holding on to in the fence is that partner.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, I've made a commitment to you. Like I chose you to be my person, and so I see color, and I want to take you with me, and I can't not do that for my soul. My soul's seen it now, and I want that experience for us. How do you reconcile that? How do you reconcile that experience where you've got a life here, and you're wanting to go there as well? What's that?
Well, sunk cost fallacy. We were talking about that before, right? I see people do this in relationships. They were in one state of mind. They were 18, 19, 20 years old. They get into a relationship with this person. Life's great in that person. One grows, the other one doesn't. But then now they have kids and they do this stuff. 10 years later, they want to completely have another life, but they're not growing together. Sunk cost fallacy says, I keep doing the same thing I've always done based off how much time, energy, and money I've already invested into it. And I actually believe that too many people stay in relationships that aren't serving them anymore because it was great for them 10 years ago, but it isn't now. And perhaps they're staying in that relationship not because it's perfect now, but because of, but we've already been together 10 years and we have kids. And I'm a big believer of you'd be better raising kids seeing two happy parents than the kids growing up seeing two parents that are just miserable because or one gave up on their dreams. Like that's my opinion. Not many people like it, but that's what I believe. But there's so many different things on this. Like when I first started entrepreneurship, I was with I had a girlfriend, and this is the exact same thing. I was like, oh my God, I drank the Kool-Aid. I was like, oh my God, there is so much more to life than getting drunk every fucking weekend. Can you believe this? And I remember I stopped drinking for a moment. I started going to self-development events on weekends, working out. I was like, this is so much better than being hungover. What? And my girlfriend couldn't see it. She's like, oh, this is shit. Like, how long is this going to last? I'm like, forever? And then I remember I went to an event and I said to her, I said, I want you to come check out this thing, like see what I see, because like I want to do this and I'd love to do it together. And then, so she never came to it. And I remember we went to see some of her family or her friends, and she goes, can you just tell me this weekend when anyone asks what you do for a living, can you just tell me you're a carpenter? Don't tell them that you're a business owner. And I was like, that's when I knew. I was like, I'm ending this relationship. And I ended it. It was at the end of 1 year, and I said, I'm like, to go to a new level, there's going to be some anchors I got to let go of, and this is one. And I let go of, and I mean, it was an easy decision. I was like 21 years old. I ended the relationship, and then I went and done my whole thing. And the funniest thing, I was actually on Hamilton Island years ago, and I was just taking like a solo trip. I take solo trips every now and then. And I'm driving around the island, and I bump into her. I said, oh, what are you doing here? She's like, oh, I've got a job here. I'm working. I said, okay, cool. She said, what are you doing here? I said, I'm just having a holiday. And she's like, oh, okay, cool. Then I bump into her when I'm checking out my hotel. I'm like, are you following me? And she's like, no. I said, what are you doing here? And she goes, oh, I'm applying for a job here. What are you doing here? I said, oh, I've just got a private chauffeur to pick me up. I've just chartered my own plane to fly me over the reef because I want to see the reef for the day. That's what I did. I'm like, I just want to see the reef, so I just chartered my own plane. I was the only person on the plane. And she's like, oh. And I was like, fucking, what an interesting moment that was, right? Because here's this girl, at this point, 9 years after our breakup, still going, can I work for you? And nothing wrong with, obviously, the whole thing. But the thing was this, I'm like, we could have built this life together, but you didn't believe in me. And now here you are asking for a job at the place I was checked out of. It was just a very interesting sort of thing. But I mean, who you choose to do your life is going to be a very, very important thing. They can either completely pull you down or they're going to thrive you. I've been lucky enough to be in an amazing relationship now. But my whole sort of mentality is this: it's, if you're not growing together, you're growing apart. But the easiest thing to do in a relationship is actually be with someone who's willing to really do the work equally on themselves.
Yes.
Because what's made my relationship with Simona so amazing and so easy is she's done so much work on herself, and she's very secure. So there's no like there's trust, there's respect, it's so easy to want to keep going to the next level.
Yeah.
Because she's very much on par with that as well.
Yeah.
But that's why at my seminar I'll get people to actually write a relationship vision. Because I'm like, this is a good indicator. If you write a relationship vision, you're like, I want to make $100 million company and speak around the world, and then your partner's like, I just want to live in a country town and surf on the weekends. Like, fucking something's going to change here. You know, like something's got to give. But if you're not clear on that, you're going to you're both going to be miserable because you're going to stay in this relationship because of it has been good, not because it's what's going to make sense for us now.
Yeah.
I had to make a relationship. I ended a relationship 5 years, 6 years ago, 7 years, no longer, I don't know, 7 years or something ago. On paper, was amazing. We were a very Instagram couple. We built this business. We built a successful business together. We're traveling the world. She was Miss America. Like it was great. Everyone was like, "You guys are amazing couple goals," but I was like, I don't know, there's just something missing. And I remember at the end of this year, it's obviously my theme. I end relationships at the end of the year. And I remember I was like, am I all in on this? The answer was, I don't know. I said, good. And if you don't know, then get the fuck out then.
The answer's no, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, if you don't know after 3 years, get the fuck out and let this girl go and find someone who actually is. And that was the decision I had to say to myself. I was like, well, that sucks. Because I'd like to, keep this convenient thing going.
Yeah.
And I remember making that decision because I was just like, I just know the only reason I'm staying in is because we've done so much together. We've got dogs. We have a house in Bali. We have this. We have this business together. All these reasons to stay in it. But I was like, if we start this relationship right now, and it was how it was, would I stay in a relationship? And the answer was no. Then end it. And I mean, I was young enough, and we weren't married. We didn't have kids. But I think there's always going to be a reason.
Of course.
People are always going to be.
Of course.
We've got kids together. We had dogs.
Yeah.
We still have 2 dogs in Bali. We pay sitters over there to look after our dogs. We had a villa. We had a business together. I understood, if I make this decision, this business is tanking because we're both going to like split it. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Right? But you know what's happened? We've both went through a very interesting year of discovering ourselves again.
Of course.
She attracted the actual relationship of her dreams.
Amazing.
Exactly the person she wanted. And I did the exact same thing as well.
Perfect.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, everything is, I think, always going to work out. But it's those big, bold decisions that actually are required to create your dream life. Otherwise, I don't know. Like, I just imagine if I was still in that relationship, I think we'd both be kidding ourselves. We'd be like, oh, we want something else. But neither of us were brave enough to actually have that hard chat.
Sure. Yeah, I think the truth sets you free, right? Talk me through the Dream Out Loud method and the significance of that, and what are those steps? And someone that is in a place now listening to this, where do they start in that process, and how do they manifest and live the life of their dreams? What does that look like?
Yeah, so it all comes down to the 5 laws, right? And when at the seminar we do, because I'm writing the whole book on this right now.
Okay, great.
And the seminar is more like the embodiment experience of it, because it's, but the right vision. I mean, we don't spend a hell of a lot of time there, but because it's, I mean, most people who listen to a podcast like this, come to an event, they got the vision. They already got the dream. But funny enough, most people still screw this up. So there's actually there's a science to setting goals properly.
Okay.
And it's not the SMART goals or anything like that either, but because I did all this research into neuroscience labs, right? And I figured out why is it, like, do you think if someone actually wanted to be wealthy, let's say at 65, if they want to have $1 million, like, and actually have passive income and be wealthy, do you think the education's out there quite accessible for people to get it?
Yeah.
It's extremely, you could get it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Invest X amount of dollars for the next 40 years, S&P 500.
It's not information, it's implementation.
It's so easy. So why does the average person not save for retirement? Why is the average person, by the time they're 65, go, fuck, I have no money? And it's so fascinating. So they done this study in a neuroscience lab in New York, and they wanted to figure this out. And the reason was because the goal of being a millionaire at 65 was too far away to care about.
Sure, yeah. Out of sight, out of mind. Yeah.
So what happens is, in order for us to get motivated, we have to have adrenaline. Motivation is adrenaline, okay? How do we get adrenaline in the body? Our systolic blood pressure has to rise. How do we get that to rise? Is we've got to have our brain pay attention to something that is so fucking important that our brain goes, that's important. Blood pressure rises, adrenaline. It could. That's why fight or flight happens, right? There's a tiger, boom, adrenaline, right? Same thing. Here's a goal. Have you ever set a goal where you're like, it was big and scary, but it was also where you're like, fuck, I could actually do that, but it's going to require some effort. And
Yeah,
then
100%.
And then instantly you couldn't sleep anymore. That's the sweet
Powerful
spot.
engagement, right?
That's the sweet spot. So people screw up their vision because they either set things too big
Sure.
or too far away.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, I made $1 million last year. This year I'm making $100 million. I'm like, I'm not just going to say it's unrealistic. I like, it's not realistic to get pieces of metal and put fans in it and take people around the world, but the Wright brothers create an airplane. I get that. However, if I was going to bet against you, I would.
Yeah.
Like, it's just probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, because what happens is your brain's just going to go, it's just too big. I can't fathom it. But if you go, here's the same thing. So it happens the exact same in reverse. If you set it too small or too soon, the brain also goes, that's not. So if I go, I made $1 million last year.
Charge. Yeah.
Made $1 million. Next week, I'm going to make $1 million. Brain goes, well, without a plan or like, I'm not fired up. No blood pressure. It's not important enough. My brain goes, no, it's not going to happen. So I'm not going to pay attention. I'm not going to get motivated. But if you go, this year I'm going to make 1.2 million, the brain, same thing, goes, I mean, it's not going to change my life that much. I just, it's.
Yeah.
So the sweet spot is kind of going in between, what's the big stretch goal for the year? What do you really think you could do? And set that. And then go, cool. Go like 50% bigger than that. And to the point where your brain goes, holy fuck, I don't know if I can do that. And then you ask the question, if you were, how would you do it? If it was going to happen, what would you have to do? What would you have to not do?
Yeah.
And I remember I'd done this to myself last year. We set a goal in one of my businesses. It was like January to about July, and we made, I forget the exact number. I think it was like $1 million, right? And I remember sitting in the sauna going, what's my goal between now and the end of the year? I go, well, I mean, I could do another $1 million, right? And 2 months left, I could do $1 million. I said, okay, do you think you could do it? Yes, good. Then do 2 million then. I go, oh, I mean, I don't think I could do 2 million. But if you were, how would you do it? I said, well, the only way I could do it is I would have to do this, I'd have to do that, and I'd have to not do that. Good, then do it.
Yeah,
right?
Importance of asking better questions.
When the goal is smaller, you've got 1,000 ways to get it.
Yeah, fear of liberating constraints.
Yeah. When the goal is bigger, right? But that sweet spot, not too big, but that sweet spot where it's like, the only way the only way I could get it is if I did this. Could I fucking do that? It's the right. And you know what happened? I did it. We didn't hit 2 million, but we hit about 1.5 something. I was like, I did it 50% bigger than what I thought I was gonna fucking do.
Yeah.
And so the right vision is actually, there's like an art, there's a science to actually setting the right goal in the right length that can actually get you scientifically motivated, adrenaline through your body. So once you get the right vision, the right environment, I've invested like, over $500,000 in personal development and growth and communities and masterminds. So I understand the proximity, just getting around other people who can think bigger, be better, and all this, and really sort of push me through that growth part. So the right environment, internally and externally. Then you have the right vehicle, understanding what is the right vehicle for you. I see this happen, and I'll talk about just e-commerce, for example, because I see this happen a lot in this sector. How build an e-com brand is mostly sold online is, here's my Lamborghini and I'm in Dubai. You can do it too. Just start drop shipping. And then everyone with a fucking, credit card goes, oh my God, I want a Lambo. Bang. But then they figure out, oh fuck, you got to build websites. You got to get tech, Facebook ads, automations, set up a warehouse. Maybe you have to go to China, get fucking products. Then someone competed with you and you crushed your product. And then it's like, wow, this is really hard. And because I could never build an e-commerce store. That's not how my brain's wired. I wouldn't build a fucking website and all that shit. But the idea of it, like, oh wow, I want that outcome. But it's not the right vehicle to get that outcome.
Yeah.
So when I was 18, I saw the developer. I want that outcome. I want to be retired. I want to have freedom. The vehicle I thought it was at the time was carpentry. Then I was wrong. I was like, fuck that. Found network marketing. That was the right vehicle at that time for me. Then what happened was I tapped into a level 10 opportunity with a level 2 skill set. So in that opportunity, I grew my skill set. I started making money. Then I outgrew it. And I go, well, actually now what I've actually become as a byproduct, I've become a speaker, a trainer, and a coach. I'm actually really good at this. I'm good at leading people. So then I'm going to go into this new opportunity of actually into the whole coaching space and education space and build a whole education company, right? And and I'm sure this will have its own thing as well. And the right vehicle is really about discovering like what are your unique strengths and gifts. What are you actually really great at already, and lean into that. Just because someone's going Facebook ads saying like, build an e-commerce business, you're probably not wired for that. But then you'll do it and you'll think you suck. You don't suck. You probably maybe you need to become a coach.
Yeah.
Right? If you like helping people, go become a coach. If you like shooting content, become a YouTuber. Start a podcast. One of my friends, Chris Griffin, he started his podcast. I mean, not even that long ago, like a year or something ago, and he's fucking killing it now. He's literally created
to the States, right?
Yeah, he's created a career now from his podcast. It's like because he just loved it. He loved having conversations. He loved doing content, and he's so leaning into that thing, like that's his vehicle. Will he stay in it forever? Probably not. Will he merge into something else one day? Probably.
Yeah.
But it's about finding that vehicle for now. You do need something that gets you from A to B. And then the right timing is the fourth law. So I always say, like, you go see what it is you want. You really see it visually, vividly, exactly what it is you want. You need to have the belief that's actually possible, which you know all about. And I always like to share the story of Roger Bannister. Roger Bannister, no one said it could happen, right? And he's like, scientists said your heart will burst out of your chest if you do this. Then he does it. And then 6 weeks later, another person did it. And then another, and another, and another, and another. Now, human potential didn't change. His mind, right? Their belief of what was possible changed.
Yes.
And this is the craziest thing. And you would have seen as well, when people shift their beliefs of what's possible, it's mental. It's absolutely mental. And I actually saw another study on the power of belief. So they got a rat and they put this rat into a jar of water and they tread water. And then the rat after 15 minutes drowned. Then they got another rat, put him in water. He tread water. After 5 minutes, they took him out, dried him off, let him run back around. Put him back in, tread water for 5 minutes, took him back out, dried him off, ran around. Did it again, 5 minutes, multiple times. Until eventually they put him in and they left him in there. Guess how long the rat stayed in the second time?
It's a couple of hours, right?
60 hours.
Yeah, wow.
240 times more powerful.
Wow.
Because he had a belief that he was going to be saved. Right? And this is one of the best studies I've found on actually the power of beliefs, because belief literally control behavior, control our actions, control our potential, our perceived potential, what we think is possible. And, so really tapping into that belief section that it doesn't have to be possible for me yet. You don't have to have the belief that I can do it. You have to have the belief that it's possible. So unless you're trying to colonize Mars, I guarantee you there's someone out there who has done probably very similar to what you want to do.
Yeah.
Go and borrow their belief.
Yeah.
If they can fucking do it. Like if I can do it, if I can be grown up here in Coomera, grew up with crack houses around me, have a gun pulled on me at 16 years old. That was the neighborhood I grew up in. If I can do that, be the only way I finished grade 12 was because I got people to, I stole people's answers for my final tests. My teacher said to me, go become a tradie because you can never do anything in reading, writing, journalism, or speaking. Don't do anything like that. Spend nearly every single weekend at Watch House, drugs, alcohol, try to take my life. If that guy can do it, become a millionaire in my 20s and create a life of freedom and do some really cool shit. Fucking, it's pretty possible, right? So it's about having that belief that you don't even have to believe that you can do it, but the belief that it's possible. And then go and borrow that belief and start to stack this. And then really just make the decision and going all in, right? It's like, I joke about this. It's like, imagine if you came home to your wife and you said, baby, I'm 99% sure that you're the woman of my dreams. Let's get married. Let's do it. Right? What do you think she'd say?
Yeah, imagine that'd be a tough sell.
She'd be like, fuck off, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. People out there being like, I'm 99% in because I'm holding on to the rope still at bay, just in case if the current takes me where I don't want to go. Well, you know what? You're never going to get to the island if you're afraid to let go of the rope.
Yeah.
And you've got to let go of that fucking rope.
And the shore.
Yeah, it's you're going to probably not go in the direction you want to go as well. And it's going to fuck you up and give you some hard waves, but you're going to figure it out. And that's the only way to actually make it happen, to actually make now the right time and go all in. And then,
how do you know when you've got the vision, you're in the right environment, you're surrounded by the right people, and you've got the right internal and external environment. So you've got vision, you've got environment. Number 3 is vehicle.
Vehicle,
You've got the right vehicle. The timing piece is an interesting one because obviously there's macroeconomic timings. There's also timings of your life as well, right? Like we talk about this, you've just had a child. I've got 2 kids. I mean, certainly when I had Leela, I remember speaking to a mentor as well about, the season of life that I was in and not wanting to delay my progress, but understanding that, you get little kids for a window of time, right? I remember a mentor shared with me once, he's like, look, you get young kids for 7 years and then the rest of your life they're going to be off with their friends and they're not going to want to speak to you. But you've got a window of time where they're the best. They're your best friend. You're their best friend. And like, don't waste that window of time chasing business at the expense of family, when in reality, family is all you're going to ever want to have when you get the results, right? So understanding that. How do you understand that this is the right time to go all in, and as opposed to this is a time to just continue to chip away at things in the background? People talk about burning the boats, right? How do you know it's the time to burn the boats?
I think there's only one time in your life where you make the decision to burn the boats. You would have made the decision at some point, but then the actual journey begins.
Sure, yes.
And that's what I'm really referring to. It's like really making a decision. Like, you don't burn the bridges once and then go, oh, now I've had kids, I'm going to go build boats and hang out again. What you do is you go, now we've got kids, we're not going to head into that fucking storm right now. Let's just coast for the next season, right? And how I refer to it like this is like getting a plane off the ground. You're not going to get a plane off the ground with 50% throttle, 80% throttle, not even 99% throttle. You have to use every single thing. Most of the fuel used in the airplane journey is the acceleration, getting off the ground. And what I'm saying is you have to, making now the right time to go, I'm getting this plane off the ground and going all in, right? But it's not just getting off the ground, it's going all in, all in, all in, climbing altitude. And then based off multiple situations, where we're going, what's my bandwidth, how successful was this launch? I mean, do I need to land the plane again? Like, how successful was it? Oh, now I've had kids. All these, you can always go, this is a good altitude. Let's chill at this altitude for a bit, right? Like I did that for a whole year. When COVID happened, I closed my business down, and you know what I did? I was single again. I was like, I've got every single guy's fucking dream. I got money. I live in a multi-million-dollar mansion with my friends here in the Gold Coast. We got jet skis out the back. I mean, I'm just dating again. And that's all I did. I'm like, I had a whole year. There was no business involved. And I just rode my jet ski every single day. I went and started dancing bachata, picking up girls, having fun. And I'm just like, I'm just having a whole fucking year. For the first time in my life, I actually understood the whole term emotionally unavailable. And I was like, I'm emotionally unavailable this year. I'm not doing anything for anyone. I'm just, so I was in a season of just altitude, right? Then at the end of that year, I was like, okay, all right, some fun. Well, what's next to me? And I did some actually consulting for a bit with like a crypto company, and that actually got me in. We made like a heap of money really quickly. And then I was like, oh, I want to do this more again. And then everything sort of took off in that next year. But I definitely believe in the seasons. I definitely believe in the seasons. But what I'm really saying is make the decision to go all in.
So it's less about finding the right time and more making the timing right.
Yes. But it's the commitment.
Yes.
Right? Because when you commit to the journey, now kids come along, okay, that was a hurdle, but we're still committed to the journey. Are we going to move a little slower than what I would have before? Probably. But am I okay with that? Yeah. Because, and this is what everything I look at for me is it's an ROI. What is going to be the return on investment of this time spent, energy spent, money spent? And right now I'm in a crazy season, and I've been coming home late every single day, last probably 2 months. And we have so much happening. And I've said this one, I'm like, it's a psychotic season, and next week we go to Fiji for 10 days.
Nice.
Then we come home for 4 days, and then we go to Bali for a month, and we're getting a full-time nanny for the entire time there. And
amazing.
It's like, I'm in a season right now of doing everything I possibly can. So that way, in our next season, okay, because I like to operate in about 90-day windows. That's my flavor. I can go real hard for 2-3 months. Then I like to take a month off and fuck off somewhere. Usually wherever the hottest weather in the world is. That's what I like to do. And that's what works for me. So, but what's important is I have this communication with Simona as well. So I'm like, I'm not just leaving you at home with Cole all the time. I'm doing all this shit with, but if I do this right now, based off my plan, when we get to Fiji, I'm going to coast and we're going to really enjoy it. And it's going to be so cool. Like, how cool. He's not even 6 months old yet. He's already come to his second country. We took him to New Zealand a few months ago. And to Fiji, and then we go to Bali. I'm like, amazing. I mean, could be a harder life for him. You know what I mean? It's
absolutely.
Like, and I just sort of understand that. It's like, yes, it's like choosing when you're playing a video game, choosing your character, right? It's like, what do I want? Do I want someone with good acceleration, but bad handling? Or do I want slower acceleration, good handling, but really good power? Like what? And you get to just pick that and go based off the season I'm in and the game that I'm about to play. What do I want? What do I need? And that's so. I love doing. I'll absolutely operate in seasons. But what I'm saying is, I operate from a season of going 100% committed still to the overall mission.
Sure.
Right. And I
Sure.
just got the self-awareness to know if I ever do get into a season of too long, I'm like, Morgan, you haven't done anything in the last like whole month. You've been fucking watching Netflix every day. Get off your ass. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
having that awareness as well. And that's not really something you can teach. It's something that I just grow and understand my own patterns if I, you know, but from building businesses for 12 years now, I've realized I know how hard I can push it. And I know my body signals of going like, you've pushed it now, chill. And I know that, that feeling of,
Do you believe in burnout?
Yes and no. Yes and no. The part of me that says yes, because physically it's possible.
Yeah.
Physically, of course, you do have adrenals. Everyone has adrenals. You can, I mean, like when I get on stage, right, adrenals are fucking high. Like through, you know, they're super high. If I don't have some sort of recovery, they're gonna be out of whack. If I do this for a long period of time, I'm gonna feel like shit. So let's say, for example, in the context of yes, it does exist. Let's say, for example, if all I did this year was did an event every single day, and I have a newborn, I'm not getting good sleep, and I'm not working out every day, and in my free time I skydive for fun. My adrenals are fucking cooked.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time before my body just goes. I might not like burn out because I can absolutely control my body with my mind, but I'm not going to be at my absolute peak.
Sure.
Absolutely. So that's one side. So physically, it's possible. And I truly believe you will only burn out if you're doing something that you're uninspired with. So I know I can, and people sometimes look at me like people in my mask, myself, like, I don't know how you have the energy. I'm like, because I'm fucking inspired. Like, I love this. You don't understand. I don't like to take time off. I don't like, now with COVID, we it's funny, like we really love the weekends, right? Because we're like, these are our actual family time. We're organizing stuff and we love it. But before COVID, I was kind of like, I'd be home on a Sunday and be like, baby, I'm going to work because I want to. I'm inspired. You know, like I love that. And so yes and no. I believe people. I believe the term is thrown around probably way too much when people are like, I'm burned out. No, you're probably not. You're just uninspired.
Yeah.
I don't think 99% of people out there who say like I'm burned out or burning out are actually telling the truth. Maybe you're exhausted. I don't think you're burning out, but you should probably look at the symptom, right? And I'd say if you're experiencing symptoms of burning out or exhaustion, you're probably doing something you fucking hate.
How much is it? I agree with you. How much you think it is when you have people that you're working with, or the people are not working with a mentor like yourself? They've got a vision, they've got the vehicle, they've got all the other things, but they don't have in their environment someone that can model the timeline for them properly, and they've got unreasonable expectations, ungrounded expectations about how quickly this thing is going to happen. And so I had a conversation, the reason why I asked this is because I had a conversation with one of my mentors last year, and he said, I was saying I'm feeling burnt out. He says, are you burnt out or are you just feeling deflated? And I was like, actually, I'm just feeling deflated, because he's like, if you were more successful, would you still feel the fatigue you're feeling? I was like, no, I'd feel fucking jacked. Like, we'd be doing really well. So how much is it of people going, I'm not getting the signal from my environment to say that I'm winning and I should be winning, and my expectation is that I'm comparing myself to all these people that are already winning and I'm not there fast enough, and so therefore I'm feeling it's not working. But in reality, I'm just being impatient.
Yeah, high achievers paradox. It's like high achievers paradox is the more we do, the more we feel like we actually haven't done anything.
Yeah.
But the very thing that gets us motivated is feeling like, you know, we haven't done enough yet.
Yes.
And it's this complete, just this cycle of the more we do, the more it feels like we haven't actually done anything. The more it feels like we haven't done anything, the more we want to do. Ultimately, we're trying to get to this place to feel comfortable, but that in itself is the very place we're trying to avoid.
Yeah. How do you ground yourself now as a father in not the doing, but the being? In like, obviously you can take yourself here into this environment and you can create a dream and manifest the dream, and there's like an energy that comes about from that. But then there's also a space and a presence of being. And I'm interested to get your take on how you reconcile those two energies and align that.
Having a different space, like having this space here, really helps. Like when I used to work at home was challenging, because at any moment you can be dragged back into just that one little thing.
Sure.
So when I get home, I really try to like, there's no work really anymore. Now we have an office, and I've seen the patterns sometimes. I've got more stuff to do, but it's I try to just have a complete different energetic space, right? And even when I come home, change clothes and try to energetically shift. I'm a different person.
Yeah.
My phone's usually, it's always on Do Not Disturb actually, all day long. My phone just goes in a complete other room.
Yeah.
So it's just harder for me to access it. And I'm just trying to just actually be present. It really is the practice of doing that and involving 5 senses.
Yep.
So whenever I'm doing something, I try to actually just involve all the 5 senses. What does this feel like? What can I smell? What can I hear right now? What can I taste? And trying to actually bring this presence back.
Yeah.
And funny enough, one of my friends, Andrew Bustamante, he used to be a spy for CIA.
Okay.
And I asked him, the big curly hair.
Yeah.
I go, bro, how do you contain? Like, I know you can't really tell me, and even if I wouldn't really believe what you said anyway, because you gotta. But I'm like, if you have ever been interrogated before and you're behind enemy lines, you're fucking caught. How the fuck do you keep your cool? How do you not let your body go? Like, how do you not freak out? And then he goes, funny enough, he goes, I bring everything back to 5 senses. So he goes, so I'm sitting there. He goes, if I'm in an extremely like a high pressure situation, like I'm dealing with a terrorist, and he's got planting a bomb somewhere, I'm thinking to myself, what do I see right now? What can I hear? What are my feet doing? What can I feel? What can I taste? And this is one of the tactics that they use in CIA to bring them back to an absolute presence. Because when you're present, because your nervous system's only freaking out because your mind's focused on something crazy, right?
Yeah, you're already.
Oh my God, what if he finds out that I'm a spy? He's going to fucking kill me. Well, stop thinking about that. Come back into the presence.
Yeah.
Fear is the anticipation of something painful happening in the future.
Yes.
So you're visualizing what might happen, not what actually is happening. So it's having these 5 senses and coming back. So that's a practice I try to do if I find myself coming back. Yeah. But then also it's having plan and organizing things. So like with our weekends, like let's do these things. But also I don't believe in this balanced life either. We try to integrate everything. So Simona will bring cold, like they hang out in this whole space here when we do events.
Beautiful.
Right, so I'm on stage there, and she's just hanging in the background. So when I take a break, I'll come in, I'm grabbing cola, and this is just life now. And if we ever had a client's like, "Oh, you have your baby at the event," well, fuck off.
Yeah,
now.
fuck right off.
I don't want to work with you.
Get the fuck out of here.
It's like if you want a professional, if you want a professional dialed person, that's probably not going to be me.
Yeah.
I was a fighter before I was a carpenter. Then I was a fucking bogan carpenter, and now I'm doing business. I'm doing my best.
Yeah.
Right, I got no hesitation of smacking you in the head still.
Yeah. Facts.
Right, so we try to integrate it all and realize that it is going to go fast, and we try to be as present as we can. But most importantly, I don't beat myself up with it as well, because I know as well that we are also in a very season right now of real acceleration. And I think probably in the next 2 years, we'll probably get to a point where we go, let's kick it back a bit. Let's kick it back. Let's hire more people so Morgan can really be freed up a lot. And because I've spoken to someone, I'm like, I don't want to grow hundreds of millions of dollars a year. I'm like, actually, what would be pretty good is 10, 15, 20 mil and have good 40, 50% profit margins. Yeah. And still travel 4 or 5 months a year. Like, I think we can do that. I think we can do that without going to this level of having to go psychotic. For what purpose? I don't understand it. So maybe I'll change when I get there. I said for every 10 mil increment, I'll keep reassessing if I really want to go to that next town. I'm only going to do it because it's a really good idea for our life. But I don't know if we really need to.
Yeah, that was my next question as we wrap is, what's Morgan optimizing for? What, when you think about, you speak to everybody about their dreams, I'm interested to get a take on what's yours. You're at an incredible level of success. You've got, what I'm sure, from a young man's perspective is you've got an incredible business, a beautiful partner, a kid. Life is set, right? So what is, you don't know what your dreams will be when you're living the life of your dreams. So I'm interested to get a take for you of what does that next chapter look like?
It is funny, right? Because I'm living the life that I wanted, 5 to 10 years ago.
Yeah.
What we really want is, because it's on a financial level, few million a year profit is great, right? More investments, yada, yada, yada. What we're really optimizing for at the moment is we're in a wealth creation era. So when I turn 40, we want to have $1 million a year and just passive income from assets and investments. So that's the goal.
How old are you now?
32.
Great.
I'm like, so that's the goal. Let's get that. Why? Because then at 40, I will really make the decision of going, is what I'm about to do really because I genuinely really want to do it? Or am I doing it because we kind of need to because now this business that requires me?
Yeah.
So where
and what are you chasing then in that case, like 20 to get what? So we're looking for
in passive.
Yeah,
we haven't measured it.
Okay.
You know, where it's like, you know, in the, you know, context
however
of,
we get there.
yeah,
by
shares
40,
and properties, some
gotcha.
assets. We've got some other businesses too, sort of like build them up and have them just completely under management.
Yeah, nice.
Also, the idea of like what we're building here is, I would love to get this to the idea of growing what we do here, kind of like how T. Harv Eker done it.
Okay, yeah,
it's like
great.
love to
Yeah,
grow
yeah,
these things and actually develop trainers and be from this place where it's like, I will step in and train stuff only because I want to, not because that's actually needed.
Yes.
Like I look at what Tony Robbins has done for himself, and I wonder if he really does it because he genuinely does love and wants to serve, or I do wonder if he's binded himself in a little bit with any sort of. I mean, that's a big fucking company. The entire thing's completely built off Tony. You see with all their virtual stuff now. Like when I interview Tony, I do want to ask him. I said, if you were going to build your business today, what would you do differently? Because I would be curious to know if he would say, I would run all these events and I'll do all this stuff. I'd be curious to know if he'd go, I would just do it all virtual, or I'd do it differently. Or I'd be curious because you see all his virtual stuff now, they're actually completely recorded.
Yeah.
He's not even live on them anymore.
Yeah.
Some of his stuff he does live still, but his biz mastering stuff's complete. I'm like, fucking genius. I'm like, that's his contingency plan.
Yeah.
You know? So I sort of mindful of going like, what Hard done was good. I still want to create a freedom business where I love to travel. I want to do 4 or 5 months a year where we really travel and keep doing more bucket list stuff and create an amazing experience life and get to travel around.
School or homeschool, you think?
I'm leaning towards homeschooling.
Yeah.
Do you homeschool?
Yeah, so a girl's not yet in school. We did enroll them in like a private school in Perth, and then we've taken them out. We're going to homeschool them. World School, I've heard, is
what is it?
Like World School.
World School, yeah.
I was like, I fucking like that. I remember I interviewed Grant and Elena Cardone just before COVID, and he says they took the kids out. He says, I jet school the kids now. It's like a private school, but it's such a Grant Cardone thing to say. And I've always liked that idea. And like I think the more we get into it, especially with AI, like fuck man, like they're not learning what they would need to learn now in school, and so like just nothing setting them up for the world that they're inheriting.
No.
So
No, yeah, it's pretty wild. I'm more leaning towards homeschooling. The only thing, like, school's still fun.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like I mean, have the idea, like it would be fun to still have him come home and be like, oh, can you help me with my experiment I need to do for school? Or, can you come and watch me perform? I'd be like, that's pretty, you know. I
heard Dean Graziosi talk about this. He's like, I give the kids the option of going to school because it's like if they want to become a doctor, they're going to need to go to school, right? But he's like, if you want the experience of going to school, you can go to school, but you don't need to, and it's a fucking waste of your time. So he has a different perspective on it, but. Yeah, I think it depends on the age as well.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So we might, don't know, honestly, because our life is wild. We travel a lot, and it doesn't make sense for school. But however, we've got 5-6 years to sort of figure that out.
Heaps time.
But one of my friends he has 2 just nannies that travel with them in homeschool.
Yeah,
he has 6 or something kids.
Wow,
crazy, right? So
wow.
They just look up and just works. They go everywhere. It's like a massive family. And
big pack.
Yeah,
for sure. Magic, man. I'm excited for you. I really am. How can everyone find out a bit more about you and what you're doing in this incredible space as well?
Yeah. Instagram is the best place for us.
Yep.
Morgan T. Nelson, come find us there. YouTube, Morgan Nelson, you'll find us there.
Yeah.
And then probably we'll find you.
Yeah.
They'll see Dreamfest and stuff. That's how, that'll be coming up again. We've got some really cool speaker. I think we're locked in for August. So that's everything for us.
You run that once a year?
Yeah, once a year.
Incredible.
People have said to us, they're like, you should do this more, and it makes a lot of sense. Absolutely, like it's an incredible event. But if we did it more, I mean, you walk into a Rolex store, you can't buy a Rolex. Therefore, people want Rolexes.
Yeah, sure.
Dreamfest 1 time a year, baby.
Yeah, nice.
Get ready for it.
Yeah, amazing. I can't wait. Incredible work, brother. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me, man. It was awesome having you.
Pleasure.
Amazing.